Hello, and thank you so much for joining me again on my live. This is PTSD, and I am fun coach Tamika. So, today we're actually going to talk about family trauma. So, let's get into it. Um, I heard a saying the other day that goes, "You're not free until you know who you are." And I like that because confidence is what true freedom looks like. I heard the root word of confidence is to confide in who God says you are. And I believe most people are not free because they don't trust themselves. Like they can't confide in themselves. And it's all because of what we're going to talk about tonight, which is family trauma. So, this is the question of the day. Ask yourself this question: am I free? And how do I know it? Right. So, in my book, Parenting the Confident Child, I spoke about family dysfunction and how it's a byproduct of trauma. Right. So, there are several signs that I'm going to share with you tonight that you may be experiencing family trauma. And I say that family trauma is like a life story because most people refuse to acknowledge it. And you cannot heal what you refuse to reveal, right? And so family dysfunction comes in like a bull in a china shop, destroying everything in its path until there's nothing left except pain. So, as you know, Thanksgiving was this week, and I must admit, it's my favorite holiday. However, it does reveal some pain, right? So, it's kind of like bittersweet for me because family trauma produces pain. And I was recently speaking with a sibling, and there was a constant back and forth. Um, and I understand that wherever there's conflict, instead of there being a safe space of love and care, right? In family trauma and dysfunction, there is constant deflecting and defending. So you can't get anything done if one or both parties are in defense mode and deflecting. And I decided personally a long time ago that I would never enter the court of defense because nothing but pain lives there. I won't even have a conversation with someone unless they're willing also not to step into the court of defense because you can't get anything done that way, right? So I was looking up some things and I wanted to know like what are some signs of family trauma. So here are 5 signs that I want to share with you tonight of family trauma. So the first one is strong feelings: depression, anxiety, fear, sadness, guilt, anger, helplessness, hopelessness, vulnerability, all of those things that are very, very strong, strong feelings. That's one of the top signs of family trauma. And I remember 2 months ago, I myself was experiencing back to back asthma attacks. I literally could not lay down because I couldn't breathe. And due to the flare up, I lost my voice for an entire month. So, God showed me that I was wrestling with some strong feelings that I had as a result of my family trauma that I had been holding on to. Okay. So, this is a huge reason why I want to really express that strong feelings is like the number one sign of family trauma. Okay. Now let's look at the second one is avoidance. So avoidance can look a whole bunch of different ways. It can look like you withdrawing from a conversation, you shutting down, you not talking, you avoiding people getting close to you, you avoiding getting close to people. It could mean something as simple as not answering your phone, not answering your text messages, not responding. That's avoidance. And that's another huge sign of family trauma. So for me, I know that when I see the signs that someone is avoidant, there's this kind of like push pull type of dynamic. One person is chasing, the other is avoiding. So when I see that someone is avoiding and has that avoidant type of energy, I immediately back off because I know how it is to be in the chase avoid drama. Most of my relationships and friendships were that way. They were either chasing me, I was chasing them, they were avoiding me, I was avoiding them, right? So that's not healthy, and I don't want to be involved in those types of dynamics or relationships, so I don't get involved in anymore. The next one is problems with trust, or a lot of people like to say trust issues. And I myself used to struggle with trusting people until I learned to trust myself. Once I learned how to trust myself, I no longer have problems trusting people. No longer. It's amazing how it happened. I don't have a problem trusting people because people who are not trustworthy show themselves as not being trustworthy. So therefore, I don't have a problem with it. I just understand that certain people I cannot bring closer to me who are not trustworthy. That's it. That's all. So then you don't struggle with that and say, oh, you got trust issues. I no longer have trust issues because I learned to trust myself. And then there's the next one is like appetite. Now, this could go either way, right? You can have some people who lean heavily on food for comfort. That's something that I used to do a lot, leaning heavily on food for comfort. I was consider myself the junk food junkie. And so anytime I had strong feelings coming up or things that I just wanted to numb because I didn't drink or anything like that, I leaned heavily on snacks and, comfort foods and stuff like that. And it can also go the other way where you see food as this big problem and now you don't indulge, you don't eat, you just totally are have like this very unhealthy relationship with food. So um family trauma shows up in appetite. And then finally, in sleep. So this is another one that can go either way. You either sleep too much or you don't sleep enough. And so, can I just go on record to say, I have not slept well in years. And I know that it's mostly due because once I started trauma therapy, I started to face a lot of things, and those feelings were strong and intense. So, therefore, I started feeling everything. I went from numbing myself, not feeling anything, to feeling everything. And I don't know if it's better to feel everything versus not feeling at all. And so like sleep was an issue for me, and it's a sign that I've had family trauma and that a lot of things come back up. I think about things, I have flashbacks, etc., etc. So if you are experiencing any of these symptoms, it is a huge sign that you have family trauma, okay? And you might want to see a professional that can help you get through it. Because, like I always mention, I am not a therapist, I am not a professional, although I will be bringing professionals on my show from time to time. The reason why I call this talk therapy is because we talk through things. Yes, the feelings are the emotional processing and a good side. I love that. Thanks so much for sharing that information because, yes. But sometimes those feelings, woo, sometimes those feelings, Miss Mincy, woo, I tell you, Miss Mincy is actually going to be coming on as one of my professionals. I'm super excited about that. But again, like if you are experiencing any of these symptoms that I mentioned today, it's a huge sign that you do have family trauma and you might want to see a professional to help you get through it because that is the way that you're going to get through it. So, again, I want to thank you for joining me today. And if you've enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and share it with someone you know. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again on the next video.